History is filled with the sounds of war, the thunder of cannons, the scream of falling bombs, the wail of air raid sirens. Each sound carries its own specific terror, a signal of imminent danger that becomes etched into the collective memory of a nation. Today, a new sound has joined this terrifying orchestra. It is not a loud explosion, it is not a piercing shriek, it is a low, persistent and menacing buzz. This is the sound of the drone, an almost insect-like hum that now hangs in the air over Russian cities, bringing with it a unique and modern form of psychological dread. For millions of civilians, this sound has become the soundtrack to their daily lives, a constant reminder that the front line is no longer far away. This is a profound shift in the experience of war for the Russian population. For generations, the homeland was seen as a sanctuary, shielded from the direct consequences of conflicts fought elsewhere. That sense of security has been shattered. The drone's hum permeates everything. It seeps through closed windows at night, disrupting sleep and turning rest into a state of anxious waiting. During the day, it causes heads to snap towards the sky, searching for a tiny, almost invisible threat. This isn't the sudden, heart-stopping shock of a traditional air raid. It is a slow, grinding erosion of peace, a psychological campaign waged not just with explosives, but with sound itself. The drone doesn't have to strike to be effective. Its mere presence overhead is a weapon. The fear it instills is primal. It is the fear of the unseen predator, the knowledge that you are being watched from above by something you cannot fight. This constant, low-level stress has a cumulative effect. It frays nerves, shortens tempers, and disrupts the very fabric of normal life. Simple routines like walking to the shops, children playing in a park, or enjoying a coffee outdoors are now tainted with a new layer of anxiety. People are forced to live with a persistent question mark hanging over their heads. Is that buzzing sound just a commercial drone, or is it something far more sinister, carrying a payload destined for a target nearby? This uncertainty is a powerful tool of modern warfare. This new reality has forced an entire population to adapt, but adaptation comes at a cost. The sound of the drone triggers a physiological response, a spike in adrenaline, a quickened heartbeat, a tensing of muscles. Living in this state of heightened alert day after day is exhausting. It leads to anxiety, sleep deprivation, and long-term trauma, conditions once associated only with soldiers on the battlefield. Now, these invisible wounds of war are being inflicted upon civilians hundreds of kilometers from any fighting. The war has come home to Russia, not with the roar of a conquering army, but with the insidious, ever-present buzz of a machine that promises only uncertainty and fear. To understand the psychological impact of this drone siege, we must look back in history. We have seen this kind of terror before. During the Second World War, the citizens of London became intimately familiar with a sound that heralded random death from above. It was the crude, sputtering engine of the V-1 flying bomb, nicknamed the buzz bomb or doodle bug. This was a weapon designed not just for physical destruction, but for psychological torment. The distinctive noise of its pulse jet engine was a terrifying announcement of its approach. But the true moment of dread came when the buzzing suddenly stopped. That silence meant the bomb was falling. That same principle of sound-induced terror is being reborn in the 21st century. The Ukrainian drones, much like the V-1S of the 1940s, have turned noise into a weapon. The drone's low, whining hum serves the same function as the buzz bomb's engine. It is an audible harbinger of danger. It creates a pervasive atmosphere of fear that lingers long after the drone has passed. For Russian civilians, especially the older generations, these sounds may trigger a form of ancestral memory, a chilling echo of the stories they heard from their parents and grandparents about the great air raids of World War II. The technology is new, but the fear it creates is timeless. The comparison extends to the nature of the threat itself. The V-1 was notoriously inaccurate. It was a weapon of indiscriminate terror, falling on military targets and civilian homes alike. It made everyone a potential target. Today's drones, while often aimed at specific infrastructure, create a similar sense of random vulnerability when used in swarms over urban areas. A drone can be shot down, its debris falling onto a residential building. It can miss its target. It can be a decoy in a larger swarm. For the person on the ground, hearing that buzz overhead, the outcome feels just as random and uncontrollable as it did for a Londoner in 1944. This marks a significant turning point. It is the first time since the 1940s that the Russian civilian population has had to endure a sustained and widespread aerial campaign against its cities. The psychological defenses, built up over 80 years of relative peace at home, are now being tested. The sirens that once warned of German bombers are now sounding for Ukrainian drones. The bomb shelters and metro stations that served as refuges then are being used again now. History, it seems, does not repeat itself, but it certainly rhymes. The buzz of the drone has become the modern echo of the buzz bomb, a sound weaponized to break a population's morale. The drone war against Russia is a masterclass in modern psychological operations. The weapon is not just the explosive payload, it is the entire system of delivery. These attacks are no longer isolated incidents involving a handful of drones. We are now witnessing coordinated waves, swarms of hundreds of unmanned vehicles launched simultaneously to overwhelm air defenses. This strategy, where quantity has a quality all its own, is designed to guarantee that some will always get through. For the civilian on the ground, this means the threat is not a matter of if, but when and where. It transforms the sky from a symbol of openness into a source of constant menace. The psychological pressure is amplified by the unpredictability of the attacks. Drones can arrive at any time of day or night. They often fly complex circuitous routes to evade detection, meaning the buzzing can seem to come from any direction. It can last for minutes or even hours as swarms circle overhead, some acting as decoys, while others identify targets. This creates a prolonged state of tension. It is a siege from above, where the walls of the city offer no protection. Life becomes punctuated by alerts and the scramble for safety. It disrupts work, education, and commerce, grinding the rhythm of urban life to a halt. This constant threat fundamentally alters the relationship between people and their environment. Public squares, parks, and wide-open streets, once places of community and leisure, become danger zones. People begin to feel safer indoors, underground, or in spaces with overhead cover. This is a form of self-imposed lockdown, driven not by a virus, but by fear. The psychological impact is profound. It fosters a sense of helplessness and erodes the feeling of safety that is essential for a functioning society. The government may project an image of strength, but the relentless hum of drones overhead tells a different story, one of vulnerability. The noise itself is a key component of this warfare. The specific frequency of a drone's motor is grating and hard to ignore. It is a sound that signifies a technological threat, an unmanned and unfeeling machine on a mission. Unlike human pilots, a drone is relentless. It feels no fear, no fatigue, and no remorse. This cold, robotic nature adds another layer of psychological terror. It is an enemy without a face, a persistent buzzing ghost in the machine. The sound becomes a trigger, instantly activating the body's fight-or-flight response, leaving a population in a state of perpetual, exhausting anxiety. The sheer scale of this drone campaign is unprecedented in the history of warfare. We are witnessing an escalation that is reshaping the modern battlefield and bringing the war directly to the Russian heartland. The numbers are staggering. In June of this year, 2025, over 5,400 drones were reportedly launched. In the first 9 days of July alone, that number exceeded 2,000. This is not a sporadic harassment campaign. It is a sustained, strategic assault. Ukraine has demonstrated a remarkable ability to innovate, modifying and producing long-range drones capable of striking targets up to 2,500 kilometers away. No city in European Russia is truly safe anymore. This relentless pressure is creating a new normal for Russian civilians. Life is now divided into two states: the quiet moments of tense anticipation and the noisy periods of active threat. Air raid apps, once a curiosity, are now essential tools for daily survival. Families are relearning the grim calculus of war, mapping out the quickest routes to the nearest bomb shelter or metro station. Children who should be learning in classrooms are instead learning shelter drills. This daily disruption is a powerful weapon against national morale, designed to show that the state can no longer guarantee the safety of its own people, even far from the front lines. The psychological toll cannot be overstated. This is a war of attrition being fought not just on the battlefield, but in the minds of millions. The constant fear, the sleepless nights, and the disruption of daily life degrade a population's resilience over time. It is a strategy of exhaustion. While Russian forces continue their offensive in Ukraine, a second front has been opened in the skies over their own cities. The drone siege forces the Kremlin to divert significant resources to air defense, resources that are desperately needed elsewhere. Every missile fired at a cheap drone is an economic victory for the attacker. Thank you for watching this in-depth analysis of the psychological impact of modern drone warfare. This is a rapidly evolving aspect of the conflict, and its long-term consequences are only just beginning to be understood. The drone has changed the nature of war, erasing the line between the front and the front. If you found this information valuable, please like, subscribe, and
as we continue to document how technology is shaping the conflicts of today and tomorrow.